Hi, I'm Pastor Deborah Burke from Inner City Assemblies of God in Oklahoma City, and I just wanted to take a minute to thank you for entrusting us with your youth for this week. They did an amazing job. You can be very proud of them. I'm the pastor here at the Inner City Church, and it's a place where anyone can come, no matter what walk of life you're at, no matter what circumstances you're involved in, that you can come and feel at home, feel welcome, and we just love them. We want to love people, and then that opens up the door to share the gospel. The area we're in right now is the third highest in crime rate in Oklahoma City, and God placed us right in the middle of it to reach, rescue, and restore this community. And that's our purpose, and that's what we're here to do.
Hi, I'm Michelle Castle from Inner City Church in the OKC Dream Center, and we really work to reach and rescue and allow God to restore people who are isolated by poverty in Oklahoma City. This week, your students have been helping with a sports camp and a feeding program that we do all summer for kids, and it just gives kids and their families a place to be able to come and eat, and we just get to nourish their bodies and their souls all week long. And so I think your students have had a great time. I appreciate them coming this week.
Probably my favorite part of Action Corps has been like running around with the kids and just having fun with them. My favorite part was playing sports with the kids and just running around and having fun and making connections with them.
My favorite part was making connections with kids also. There was this one specific family, and it was 3 sisters and then their aunt. And the aunt kind of had to be, she was young and she had to be a mother figure. And the first day that they met me, they just came up and they showed this instant affection for my mom and I. And it kind of just broke my heart when they had to leave. And yeah, that was the most memorable part for me.
But it's really interesting to get to know people you've never met before from different walks of life and stuff like that, and see what they go through. And their resilience is just really inspiring, especially with the kind of lifestyle they lead and stuff like that. So to be able to come in and be at least a little bit of a light is really uplifting, I think.
Something that stood out so far is that as soon as we got here, I believe on like Sunday or something, Miss Michelle, we went and talked to her, and she kind of talked a little bit about the church and like what they were doing. And just like when she was talking, I just like felt like I really like they were super humble with like everything they did and how they went about everything. So in Matthew 23:12, it says, "For those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted." And I think that that's really like just like a testimony of like what they do and like why they do it.
My favorite thing about this trip was probably today on Thursday when us girls were in our room and we were just talking about the experiences we had with the kids and what touched our hearts, what made us laugh. It was really heartwarming and it's good to see.
My favorite part of the trip was probably going out into the neighborhood and picking up trash and just seeing the different atmosphere of the neighborhood.
Something that stood out to me this trip was there's a board in like the cafeteria room, fellowship hall, and it says memories, and there's 2 that specifically stood out to me. There's not a bunch on there, but there was one that says like my uncle went to jail was one of, like they wrote that on there and it was their memory, and another one was a house on fire. And I think that really stood out because it's kind of sad to think about people that have those memories. Like we might have those memories, but not a lot of us have the same memories. Another thing that stood out to me during this trip was we picked up trash from the neighborhood, and just to see there was like boarded up houses and houses that were like chained together and stuff, and it was kind of sad to see the different communities. Like I lived in Hermantown and I've lived in a pretty safe community, and the community that people live in is sad. So.
My favorite thing this week to do was probably like to meet all the kids, because they all loved you so much and they all just like wanted to be accepted. And then the hardest thing that I probably did this week was to watch them all leave, and they wanted to hug everybody.
Okay, my favorite part was probably getting to know the kids and knowing about their backstory and just hanging out with them. I really like that, and like there's this one girl named Elizabeth, and I really clicked with her. She was really cute and nice. There's other kids. I can't remember their names at the moment.
I'm really good to remember is I sat next to this girl, her name is Julie, and 2 seconds later she wanted to give me a piggyback ride, and she would not let go of my neck for the rest of the day and for the rest of the week. And I had really bad sunburns that hurt, but it was so cute because she wanted to hang out with me, and I didn't like ask her to, but she wanted to, and that was cool.
My favorite part was maybe hanging out with the kids. I really got to know quite a few of them, like Hector, Landon. Those two were pretty nice kids. And then I also really liked when we went to the youth scoop epic. It was just like really cool how big the place was. Had everything there.
I really liked eating with the kids and bonding with them, because hearing some of their stories was just so heartbreaking that I couldn't imagine living like they do.
My favorite part about staying here in this experience is probably just hanging out with kids, hanging out with my group, kindergarten, first grade. I liked I seen changes in this one kid's life. His name was Titus, and the first day he was so shy, and the second day I just talked to him a little bit, and he just opened up to me completely. It was just amazing.
I liked playing with the kids because it was fun.
My favorite part about the trip was bonding with the kids and hanging out and playing with them and telling them stories
My favorite part of the trip was definitely not waking up early, but it was nice being able to wake up and see a bunch of smiles on a bunch of kids' faces, so it wasn't a bad trip.
My favorite thing about coming on this trip, well, one of the great things is the weather. It's been amazing, like super hot and humid. I like it for a week. Much longer would be too bad, but really the relationships that you build with the kids is something that is really special. You know, you get to know the kids' names, and by the end of the week, you know, you're hanging out with them, you're calling them by name, you're making them feel special in a way that they've never felt before. And that's really something that I've come away with. I also liked, we were able to clean up some garbage when we, in an area of low-income housing, and that was really cool to talk to the people there a little bit, to be helping them out in the ways that, you know, hey, be in the hands and feet of Christ and make a difference on the people living there.
One of the favorite things I like about being down here was what Booster just said about how we're just able to go and help the community right around the church that we're staying at, some of like the worst housing in Oklahoma City. So we're able to just walk around, you know, pick up trash and talk to a few people that were going around, hand out a couple flyers about the church, and just really show them that, you know, the church people aren't just for church. Like being the hands and feet of Christ, like Nick said again, it's more important than just showing up to the church building every Sunday morning.
My favorite part of the trip is probably the weather, but also the kids. The tough thing about the weather though is when you sweat like me, you have to go through like 4 or 5 shirts a day, so that's not always fun. But I mean, just going with the kids, I mean, I've met a couple brothers, and I mean, they've just been super nice and super friendly, and I mean, we'll go play basketball in the gym, and just really nice kids, and it's been really fun to get to like know their story and get to know their names, and that's one thing that I'll really remember for the rest of my life.
Okay, one of my favorite people on the trip was this little pre-K girl named Taya, and she was just a ball of energy and a lot of work, and I just chased her around all week. But it was the first day she was talking to me, and she's like, "You're my friend and I love you," and it was just great to see the bonds we could form with the kids.
My favorite part was just like meeting all the kids and just like having a blast. There's this one kid named Ethan, and he really liked to hang out with me, and he always wanted to get me wet in the water games.
My favorite thing this week was getting to know all the kids really well and getting to hear all their different stories and what they like to do and all the differences that they have here and getting just to really work with them.
My favorite part this week was probably just playing with all the little kids and stuff, because I kind of came here thinking that like, oh, I was gonna like really make them like laugh and like stuff, but they really had like an impact on me and really made me like really joyful this week, and I hope I did that for them. But yeah, it was really just fun getting to play with them and talk to them. Water fights, and getting made fun of for having a Minnesota accent all the time. That was fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
Something that really touched my heart was just seeing all the kids play together and seeing all of us different students playing with them, and just the joy on the students' faces and also on the kids' faces. Just them being happy, that just seeing the kids have fun and just kind of growing throughout the week, from being shy to just laughing and having a good time with us. I just love seeing that with them.
Yeah, and like Madison said, like I love like how all the kids like have like they were shy at the beginning of the week and like throughout the week, you know, like we've obviously like grown closer to them and like developed like relationships with them. And along with like, I know personally like my relationship with Jesus this week has grown stronger, and it's just amazing how, you know, just being in a new place, in a new setting can just kind of open up your eyes to a new perspective. And yeah.
One of my favorite things, I don't know, I really liked all the worship sessions and the devos that we did and stuff, but definitely my favorite part, along with many other people, is going to be working with the kids, because it was a really humbling experience, you know, seeing like what kind of families they grow up in, like the family situations that they have, and just the fact that sometimes they might not even get a meal to eat during the summer, and I really realized how I took for granted that, you know, I have my parents who love me, and they put food in front of me every day, and I was really thankful for that experience.
My most memorable part of the trip was talking to this little girl on the first day, and she told me how she was so excited to go see her parents because she was in foster care, and so that really opened my eyes to see that not everybody has parents.
Okay, I think my favorite part so far about the trip has been spending time with the kids. Spending the time with the kids is pretty fun because you get to experience like life with them and share a lot of laughter. And I think that the most hardest part about this trip, for one, is the heat, of course, and two, since I stopped going to DGT, I think the hardest part is just getting back to knowing these guys. It's not like I ever lost touch with them, but it is hard for me.
I had a really fantastic week this week with the students and with the children at the camp. Personally, it was a treat for me that I got to drive one of our church vans to escort, to pick up the kids in the morning and then drive them home in the afternoon. It kind of gave me some time with them where I had them in my vehicle and I could talk to them. And as crazy as it was, as loud as it got, and rambunctious as they were, you know, I was able to have personal conversations with each kid in the van. And on the last day today, driving them home for the last time and just shaking their hand, encouraging them, you know, with whatever I could say to them, it was great. And we had the opportunity to get out into the neighborhood, and we did some garbage cleanup and handed out flyers for the church ministry here. So that was a great opportunity for our students to, in a sense, get their hands dirty and see what is going on in the city and see how people live. So it was encouraging to see our students doing that. You know, one of our students got a little cut on her finger, so we had to walk her back, wash her up, get a Band-Aid on, and I was ready to sit down with her and say, well, let's wait for everyone else to come back. And before I could say anything, she said, are there any more gloves? Let's go back out there. And she was right back out there cleaning up trash again. So real proud of all the students this week. This year's Action Corps was a really cool experience for me. I think this is my third Action Corps now, and it's different than the other ones that I've been on. Traditionally, we do more service projects and manual labor type things, and those are great. But this year was, I think, more impactful for our kids, and I think for me personally, just to see, to be able to interact on these kids, with these kids in the area. For the sports camp, we had people who were group leaders who would go with a certain age group of kids and to the different activities, and then some of our students also were leading the camps of basketball or cheer or whatever it was with the different activities. So they really got to interact with the kids a lot, and they definitely grew on the kids. The kids grew on our students, and just being able to see hear some of the stories that these kids are coming from was heartbreaking. Just to know what their home lives are and what we've been blessed with in our own lives, myself, and it was hard to say goodbye to those kids, knowing what they were going back to, most of them. So, but hopefully we made a difference in their lives, and it was a great experience. So, thanks.
So this week we were in Oklahoma City, and we ran a sports camp and did some Bible stories in the morning, and some we had like a big theme every day, and our students would act out what the Bible story was, or talk about what the big idea was for the day. And it was really cool to see our students just step up and do whatever they were asked to do by Miss Michelle or the pastors or whoever. And my favorite part was watching the kids just connect with the Oklahoma kids. And I mean, for them to get so connected with those kids for a week, they were bawling when they had to say goodbye today, and it just really touched my heart to see how impacted they were. I think they came down here thinking that they were gonna touch the lives of these students that they were working with, and I think they ended up coming away with more than they had anticipated. So that was really cool to see.
This was my first trip as a leader for Action Corps, and that was pretty awesome. Some of my favorite parts was just seeing the students and personalities that maybe don't normally come out in youth group on Wednesdays really just shine out. And so students are getting closer that maybe wouldn't normally be friends. And then also, as students are getting closer, every night we have devotions. And that's just a time where we just worship, and students actually, there's student-led devotions that we just kind of listen to and hear other students' hearts. And that's really cool, because as students are getting closer together, they're also seeking after God every night, and that's just an amazing and really unique and special thing that we do at Action Corps.
As you came, listen, this trip will not fix your life. Momentum will not fix your life. I will not fix your life. But Jesus Christ will fix your life. And your response to Him will change your life. My presence is a promise independent of your awareness of me. Listen.
Oklahoma City has been amazing. Just a fantastic trip. Students have been awesome. We got to just spend basically the entire week with kids from the inner city area, and it's been just fantastic to watch our students connecting with these kids in a really cool way. And there's been days where it's just like, oh my word, this is crazy, these kids are going wild. But then there's those real connections that have been made. And I know that especially today, being our last day, we said goodbye to all the kids, and it was really hard. I was super emotional. I know like a lot of the people, a lot of our students were just really emotional about saying goodbye to these kids, and even the kids when they were hugging us, and they were crying, and so we were crying, and there was a lot of connections made this week with just even the simplest of things, like playing basketball with kids, or having a water balloon fight, or whatever the case may be. There's a kid that I really connected with this week. His name's Hayden, and he's a special needs kid. And just in talking with him, he was kind of shy at first, and he really liked school buses. And so we were talking about this broken down school bus outside, and he was just really excited about it. So I was just kind of hanging out with him around the school bus, and just in doing that, he opened up a little bit to me and told me that his dad's a mechanic and he could fix the bus, but his dad's in jail, and he was pretty sad when he was talking about how his dad was in jail. And so I started asking him about his mom and how things are at home, and it was very heartbreaking for me to think about this single mom having a special needs kid, and just the just day-to-day stuff that this kid goes through, but he's got so much joy in his heart, and that was really cool to see. So I know that I've been deeply impacted by a lot of the kids here, and I know that our students have been deeply impacted by the kids here, and man, I hope that somehow Jesus works in the things that we did to impact the kids here as well. So it's been an amazing trip, and we're super excited to be back home.
Yeah, so it's kind of hot out here. We're all getting used to it though. My favorite part with the kids was Dylan the first day playing basketball. Kind of avoided me for the first 5 minutes, but finally I got into his head a little bit, and we got to play basketball quite a bit. But as far as the heat goes, the best thing was taking the sprinkler hose and getting Autumn soaked the first day. Hey! Thanks.